Hi, welcome to our webinar. My name is Hanna Tucker, and I'm the Clinical Director for the Behavior Frontiers Ventura Oxnard Center. And today we're going to be talking about functions of behavior. Oh, there we go. So just a little bit about Behavior Frontiers, that we're applied behavior analysis company providing ABA treatment both in the homes and in the center across 50 locations nationwide. And we are here to provide standard care for autism with highly trained clinicians dedicated to using ABA to create the most effective individualized programs to enhance the lives of individuals with autism and other special needs. So what we're going to talk about today is how to analyze the function of your child's behavior, discover effective strategies for addressing behaviors based on their functions, as well as how ABA teams develop a custom approach to reinforce desired behaviors and decrease problem behaviors. So there's different types of maladaptive behaviors, different types of behaviors that kids can engage in, such as self-stimulatory behavior. These are behaviors that could look like hand flapping, rocking back and forth. Both self-stimulatory behavior can be visual, physical, or vocal, and that is related to behaviors that could be sensory related. We have behaviors could be aggression, tantrums, eloping, self-injury, non-compliance, as well as noise protest and perseverations. So why does problem behavior persist? Children persist in engaging in challenging behaviors due to the reinforcement they receive. The maladaptive behaviors help the child achieve their desired outcomes, serving as a function. So every behavior has a function, and we're going to talk about the different functions to behavior. So these are different types of functions that reinforce or maintain the behavior. They can engage in behavior for attention. This could be attention whether from a person or attention from a group of people. Escape or avoidance, to escape a task or avoid from doing a demand or a task. To gain access to a tangible, which could be an item or activity, or sensory input, whether it's because too much sensory is happening or they need to gain sensory input. And we're going to talk about the different types of attention. Problem behaviors may be reinforced when the child gains attention. So attention can be praise, a hug, a smile, being picked up, being talked to, getting an explanation from someone, being reprimanded, getting yelled at, arguing. So there's different types of attention, as you see here, not just positive attention, but negative attention, all act as attention for the child. So an example could be a child is playing alone while parent is making dinner. Child throws toy at the wall and parent runs over and lectures the child about behavior. So as you can see here, the child engaged in throwing at the wall, so that way they can get the attention from the parents. Types of escape. There could be delaying the activity to start. So if we need to start doing homework, then engage in a behavior to delay the start of homework. To get out of a given task, if they're doing homework and it's very difficult, maybe they engage in behavior to get out of continuing to do homework. Other things, going to bed, trying to clean, if you tell them to clean up. An example will be a parent says, put on your shoes. Child tantrums, parent waits for 15 minutes and then puts on the child's shoes for them. Another type is a tangible. So again, this could be an item or activity. So a child engages in problem behaviors to gain access to toys, food, TV, and outside, or maybe access to an item for a little bit longer. An example could be a parent says, it's time to turn off the TV. The child begins complaining, and parent says, okay, you can have 5 more minutes of TV. And the last function of behavior is sensory input. So again, a child can be engaging in behavior to either gain sensory input or relieve sensory input. So this could look like, again, hand flapping, lining up toys, eye gazing, making repetitive sounds. An example is child is done with therapy session, child is playing alone, and child begins lining up toys. So this could happen at any point. The reason we call this also automatic. So again, a client or a kiddo is engaging in behaviors to gain or relieve sensory input. It's automatically happening and has nothing to do with what's going on with others. It's not socially mediated. So it doesn't have to be related to a person, an activity, or an item. So it's, again, related to a sensory feeling that they either need or need to relieve. So what is the function of behavior? Parent may ask themselves, how do I know what the function of my child's problem behavior is? And the answer is to do what we call a functional assessment. And we're going to show you how you can do a quick function assessment of your child's behavior and to understand why the problem behavior is happening and what the function is. What is the reason that behavior is happening? So a functional assessment involves analyzing the situation surrounding the problem behavior. So we have something called an ABC assessment. The A stands for antecedent, the B stands for behavior, and the C stands for consequence. Antecedent is the events, action, or circumstances that occur before behavior. So what happened right before the behavior occurred? What was the situation that happened before? B is the behavior that occurred, and C is the consequences. What action or response happened following the behavior? So here we have an example of a chart that you'd fill out and to the ABC chart to figure out, the A, the B, and the C. So here, antecedent, behavior, and consequence. So antecedent, again, the situation before the behavior, B, the behavior, and C, the situation after, the consequence, what happened after the behavior. So we have an example, parent says it's time for bed. That's the antecedent. The behavior, the child tantrums, and what happened afterwards, the consequence, the child escapes and is delayed bedtime for 1 more hour. So it doesn't have to go to bed right away. So right there, that tells us, okay, how are we going to figure out the function? Well, your parent says it's time for bed and he engages in behavior. And then you say, okay, you can go to bed in an hour from now. You have 1 more hour until bedtime. Then we know from that the function for the behavior is to escape or to delay. So that tells us the reason why they're engaging in those behaviors after you say this, it's because they want to escape going to bed. The function is maintained by escape. Another example we have here is mom is on the phone, child throws toy across the room. Consequence, mom hangs up the phone and approaches child. This lets us know that the function is attention-based because we see what was the behavior, child throwing the toy across the room, but what happened before the behavior occurred? Well, mom was on the phone, so child lacked the attention from mom and wants mom's attention, so engage in the behavior and we know the behavior is maintained because mom hung up and approached the child. So the child in the end got the attention of mom. So you can use these type of ABC data sheets to help figure out why behavior occurs or why it's constantly occurring. So if you figure out, what do I do when my child screams? Let's first figure out what the function to that screaming behavior is. And you can utilize that sheet to figure out the antecedent, the behavior, and the consequence to help figure out the function of behavior. And this is what we do at Behavior Frontiers. We do assessments. We assess our clients' needs, their behaviors to figure out that function. And once we figure out that function through all of our assessments, we implement a behavior intervention plan that's function-based and give to help reduce problem behavior and as well as teach adaptive skills that they would need and replacement skills to use instead of engaging in those problem behaviors. So here's just a chart of average reduction in problem behaviors. So a reduction in overall problem behavior at 3 months would be 38%, at 6 months, 51%, and around 9 months, 63%. And a reduction in eloping at 3 months, 31%, 6 months, 61%, and 9 months, 93%. And reduction in self-injury, 3 months, 72%, 6 months, 100%, and 9 months, 100%. So if you guys want to look at this as another empty sheet that you could utilize as ABC data sheet, that's what it would look like. All you need is just a box. Make sure you have 3 columns, label the first one antecedent, label the second one behavior, and the third one consequence, and then fill out the boxes, and that will help you on your own to identify the functions to behavior. Before we lead into questions, I do want to talk about an upcoming event at our Behavior Oxnard Center. We are doing on March 1st, this Friday, our Dr. Seuss event to celebrate Dr. Seuss's birthday, where it's going to be open to the public to have everyone check out the center. They can tour the center and engage in the events and the activities that are going to be at the center. We're going to have Pin the Hat on the Cat, we're having reading time in our library, as well as doing other themed activities, and there's going to be snacks. And you also get to see in action our other clients and kiddos who are currently at the center to see kind of how a daily activity or daily life for a kiddo who engages in problem behavior or not problem behavior, and has ABA sessions at our center will look like. So if you want to know what ABA looks like, especially at a center, you'll be able to see that at our event this Friday. So we have a QR code here to RSVP. Let me know if you can't see or access the QR code. We can post it in the chat. And then, yeah, any questions?